Hello YouTube, in this video we're going to create a new scene for the main menu and then tie all of that into the game manager, and then you'll see how we can create some custom events and have buttons call those events. And there will be some cuts in the video where I've made mistakes, don't worry about those. And let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first we're going to create a new button for the pause panel. I'll move it 50 pixels down. And this button will be called Restart. And I'll update the button text to say Restart. I'll select our font and then change the font size to 20. All right, and now in the canvas, if I right click and go to Events, Custom, Custom Event, I'll call this one Load Level 1. I'm going to call it Load Level 1 because eventually we'll have multiple scenes, so we'll actually use it to call Level 1, but for now, we'll just reload the current scene. So if we look for Load Scene, this tells Unity to load a specific scene by integer value. Right now we need to look for Get Active Scene. And if we drag out of the value port, we can go to Scene, Properties, Get Build Index, and that's the current scene's index number. So we'll plug that in. And when we load a scene, we want to set a few defaults. I'm going to set paused and game over to false. Then I'm going to look for set active. And I want to make sure the pause panel is set to inactive. And then I want to set the time scale to 1. All right, and in the restart button, in order to call this custom event, if you go down, click on plus, drag in the game manager object, and then in the functions, go to FlowScript controller and then send event. And now we simply just need to type in load level 1. All right, let's do a quick test. If I get a game over and hit restart, it does reload the scene. However, my score doesn't change, so we'll fix that. We'll just set the score to 0 right after we load the scene. It's already set to 0 in the node by default, so we'll just put it in between there. And then we'll do another test. Alright, if I get a game over, restart. Score is 0, I can pause and then restart as well, so that all looks good. Alright, now we can duplicate the restart button. And this will be the main menu button. I'll update the text to say main menu. And I'll move this down another 50 pixels. And now I can duplicate main menu to create a quit button. I'll move that down another 50 pixels and update the text to say quit. Alright, now I'm going to create a new event just for the quit button. If you go to Events, Custom Event, we're going to look for quit, and you'll see static quit. Connect the nodes, and I'll call the event quit. In the button itself, I'll change load level 1 to quit. Alright, I'm going to reapply the prefab, and now we're going to rename the current scene to level 01. And then duplicate this scene to create the main menu scene. And I'll just rename level 02 to underscore main menu. The underscore will bring it to the front of the scene list. If I go to build settings, I can drag the main menu on top of level 1, and that'll make sure the main menu has a scene index of 0. And now if I go back to canvas, I'll create a new custom event by going to Events, Custom Event. I'll call it Main Menu. And here I'm going to look for Load Scene again. And we do want it to load scene 0, so I can leave that in there. And since Game Manager will persist to the main menu, I'm going to duplicate the nodes from load level 1 to reset all of our values back to default, like paused and game over. And I'm also going to look for set active. We want to make sure the score doesn't show up in the main menu. If I drag the score text over, plug it into the set active node, that's all I need for that. Now if I open the main menu scene, I'm going to go ahead and remove all the items we don't need, like player, shredder, boundaries, projectiles, the enemy objects. I'll save this and go back to level 01 again. And then I'm going to set the main menu button to call the main menu event. Technically, we could reuse the pause panel for the main menu, but that would lead to several more nodes because we'd have to disable some buttons and update the pause text again. So to keep things simple, I'm just going to duplicate the pause panel, and I'm going to call it main menu panel. I'll disable the pause panel to get it out of my way. And I'm going to rename the restart button to start. I'll delete the main menu button, and I'll change pause text to menu text. And then I'll put in the title of our game, which will just be Flow Canvas Space Shooter. I'll increase the font size to 45, and I'll give it some crazy color. I'm going to move the quit button up by 50 pixels. And I'll change the restart button text to start. Alright, now I need to add a new game object variable for the main menu panel, and I'll call it main menu panel. We'll drag it in. Alright, and in the canvas we want to activate the main menu panel when we load the main menu scene. And I'll disable the main menu panel by default when we load the scene. Alright, now I'll duplicate those nodes and bring it up to load level 1. And here I will disable the main menu panel. Alright, now that we have multiple scenes, I can get rid of the getActiveScene and buildIndex nodes. And I'm just going to put in the number 1 so that load level 1 will actually load level 1. And since we disabled the score text in main menu, I want to make sure it's enabled when we load level 1. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to create a group for load level 1. And I'm going to call it start level 1. Now I'm going to select the nodes and duplicate them, and I don't notice until a little bit later that I did not duplicate the score node that we put in there. But don't worry, we do get to that. And this duplicated event is going to be called restart. And now I'm going to do what I did before, which was get the active scene, and then go to scene properties, get build index. And I'll plug that into the value, and now this will actually restart the scene that we are in. So I'll call this group restart. Now if I go to the restart button from the pause panel, I'm going to have it call restart instead of load level 1. Alright, and here I do notice that I'm missing that node to set score as active again. So you'll see me kind of fumble my way around trying to add it back in by duplicating it. We're getting all of that connected. Alright, I'll make it nice and neat and make sure the group is surrounding it. I'll reapply the Game Manager prefab. Now we can test everything again. So I can go to the main menu. Everything looks good. If I hit start, it looks good. Restart looks good. Now I need to get a game over. Oops. Let's go to start again. I clicked things a little bit too fast there. There we go. Now I'll go to main menu and start. And I can't test the quit button when we're in the editor, unfortunately. But that's it for this video. And that was the last major video for this series. In the next video, we're just going to do a quick wrap up and put in a couple tweaks. I hope to see you then.